The U.S. Supreme Court just rejected former President Trump's bid to block the January 6th committee from getting hundreds of documents from the archives. But Mr. Trump is also facing new pressure tonight from the New York Attorney General. Tish James says her office found significant evidence suggesting the Trump Organization committed fraud. In new court filings, she wrote, company executives misstated the value of assets to get favorable loans, insurance coverage, and tax deductions. The AG office says it has not reached a decision on whether this evidence merits legal action. The Attorney General also asking a judge to order the former president and two of his children, Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump, to testify as part of the civil investigation. The president's other son, Eric Trump, already spoke to the AG's office. In a statement today, a spokeswoman for the Trump Organization responded, writing in part, "The only one misleading the public is Letitia James. Her allegations are baseless and will be vigorously defended." We've reached out to the former president, Donald Trump Jr., and Ivanka Trump for comment. So far, no response. Here's NBC's Ken Dilanian.
Shep, this filing accuses Donald Trump, his children, and his company of repeatedly and pervasively overstating the value of their assets on financial documents for their own benefit. And while this filing is part of a civil fraud investigation by the New York Attorney General, there is a separate criminal investigation by the Manhattan District Attorney into the same sorts of issues. So the stakes here are high. The filing describes ways Trump allegedly inflated his net worth in order to secure better terms from banks and insurance companies. For example, the Trump Organization valued a parcel of land in New York's Westchester County at nearly $300 million, when an appraisal said it was around $50 million. Now, whether this constitutes criminal or civil fraud could hinge on whether the AG can prove these misstatements were knowing and intentional, and that may be why she's trying to compel the testimony of these key witnesses. Trump's lawyers have argued that it's improper for the AG to demand this testimony in a civil investigation when she's also participating in that criminal probe, where the subjects have a constitutional right to remain silent. If they lose and Trump is forced to testify, it seems very likely he would take the fifth, given the criminal investigation. But in a civil case, a jury is allowed to draw a negative inference from that. In other words, a jury could assume Trump has something to hide if he refuses to answer questions. So that may be the goal here. Whatever happens in the civil case, Shep, the real drama surrounds the question of whether Trump or his children have any criminal liability for these financial misstatements, especially given the prospect of Trump running for president in 2024.